The war between the Zephyrians and the Kythera had lasted for 300 years. Not a hot war with ships firing and planets burning, but a cold war where both sides watched each other across the dark space between stars. Each side had enough weapons to destroy the other completely. This kept them both alive but also kept them apart. Commander Vex floated in his command chamber aboard the Zephyrian research vessel. His blue skin had darker patches that showed his age and experience. 6 arms moved across different control panels as he studied the reports coming in from their deep space sensors. The Zephyrians looked like tall, thin humans, but with extra arms and skin that changed color with their emotions. On the other side of the Andromeda sector, Admiral Torn read the same sensor data in her war room. Her red scales caught the light from the screens around her. The Kythera looked more like walking lizards with 4 arms and eyes that could see heat as well as light. She had been fighting this cold war for 50 years, just like her father before her. Both commanders saw the same thing in their reports: a small blue and green planet in a spiral arm galaxy far from their territory. The planet had primitive life forms that had just learned to split atoms and fly in space. Most interesting of all, these creatures seemed to be in their own cold, or the humans, as they called themselves, had divided their small world into different groups. These groups pointed nuclear weapons at each other but never fired them. It was exactly like the situation between the Zephyrians and Kythera, but on a much smaller scale. Dr. Zara, the head scientist on Vex's ship, brought him a detailed analysis. Her skin glowed soft green with excitement as she spoke. "Commander, these humans show all the signs of a species locked in permanent conflict. They build weapons they never use. They prepare for wars they never fight. They could teach us much about our own situation." At the same time, Captain Rex presented similar findings to Admiral Torn. His scales shifted from dark red to bright orange as he explained his discovery. "Admiral, we could learn how primitive species handle Cold War conditions. Perhaps we can find new strategies or even ways to use them against the Zephyrians." Both leaders had the same idea at the same time, though neither knew it. They would send secret observation teams to study these humans during their winter season. Their sensors showed that human military activity increased greatly during the cold months. This made sense to both alien races, who also did most of their fighting when conditions were hard. What happened next surprised everyone. Commander Vex sent a coded message to Admiral Torn through channels they had used before for prisoner exchanges and peace talks. The message was simple: joint observation of primitive species, shared costs, shared information. No weapons, no fighting, only watching. Admiral Torn thought about this for 2 days. A joint mission with the enemy seemed impossible. But the chance to study how other species handled Cold War was too good to pass up. She sent back a single word: agreed. The meeting happened in empty space between their territories. 2 ships, one blue and silver, one red and black, met at coordinates both sides had chosen. Neither ship carried heavy weapons. Both sides knew that trust was dangerous, but knowledge was more important. Dr. Zara and Captain Rex spoke to each other through video screens. Neither had ever seen their enemy face to face before. Zara's skin shifted through different shades of blue and green as she spoke. Rex's scales changed from dark red to lighter orange. Both were nervous but curious. "The humans show interesting behavior patterns," Zara said in the trade language both species knew. "They group together when cold weather comes. Their communication increases. They move in organized patterns across snow and ice." Rex nodded, his neck extending slightly the way Kythera did when they agreed with something. "Our scans show the same thing. They seem to become more military during winter months. Perhaps they have learned to use harsh conditions as training for war." Both scientists agreed to set up hidden observation posts around the human planet. They would watch from far away using sensors that the primitive humans could never detect. The posts would orbit the planet, always staying on the night side where they would be harder to see. Commander Vex and Admiral Torn met through secure video link to approve the mission. It was the first time leaders from both sides had spoken directly in over 50 years. Vex's skin showed deep blue patches of caution. Torn's scales were dark red with flecks of gold, That meant she was being very careful. "We observe only," Vex said. "No contact with the primitives, no interference with their development. We watch and learn." "Agreed," Torn replied. "The first side to break these rules loses access to all information gathered. The mission ends if either of us tries to use the humans as weapons." They spent hours working out the details, how many ships each side could send, where the observation posts would be placed, how they would share information, what they would do if the humans discovered them. It was the most cooperation their species had shown in 3 centuries. Within a month, the joint observation fleet was in position around Earth. Neither the Zephyrians nor the Cathera realized they were about to witness something that would change both their civilizations forever. They thought they were studying primitive warfare. Instead, they were about to discover that humans had found a completely different way to handle competition and conflict. The winter season was beginning on the northern part of the human planet. Soon the aliens would see things that would make them question everything they thought they knew about war, peace, and what it meant to compete with others. The observation posts took their positions around Earth just as winter began in the northern regions. Dr. Zara watched from her station as snow started falling on the Rocky Mountains. Her skin glowed pale yellow with concentration as she adjusted the sensors to pick up human communications. Captain Rex monitored the European regions from his post. His scales shifted to dark green, the color Cathera showed when they were focusing hard on something. Both scientists had their translation computers working to understand human language. The first signals they picked up confused them greatly. Humans were talking about something called training camps, in places covered with snow and ice. The war aliens knew that most species avoided harsh environments, but these humans seemed to seek them out on purpose. Dr. Zara intercepted a communication from a place called Colorado. A human voice was saying, "The Olympic training facility is ready for the winter session. All athletes report for conditioning tomorrow at dawn." She recorded this and sent it to Captain Rex with a note. They call their warriors athletes and their war colleges Olympic facilities. Captain Rex had picked up similar messages from a region called Canada. Humans were gathering in large groups talking about international competition and bringing honor to their countries. To the Cathera, this sounded exactly like the war councils his own people held before battle. Both aliens began focusing their sensors on these gathering places. What they saw made their skin and scales change colors rapidly with excitement and alarm. In Colorado, they watched a human male named Jake Miller strap long, flat pieces of wood to his feet. He pushed himself to the top of a steep, snow-covered mountain using 2 long poles. Then he pointed himself straight down the mountain and began moving at incredible speed. Dr. Zara's skin flashed bright orange with shock. "He's performing high-speed reconnaissance of mountain terrain," she told Rex through their communication link. "Look how he moves between the trees and rocks. This is advanced scouting technique." Jake Miller flew down the mountain, turning left and right to avoid obstacles, jumping over small hills and moving faster than the aliens thought possible for a creature without mechanical help. When he reached the bottom, other humans were waiting with timing devices and were writing down numbers. Captain Rex observed similar activities in the Canadian region. A human female named Amy Roberts was doing the same mountain descent, but she was moving in different patterns. She made sharp, quick turns and threw up clouds of snow as she changed direction. "They're practicing different attack approaches," Rex told Zara. "This female uses sudden direction changes to confuse enemies. The male uses speed and obstacle avoidance. Both are clearly military techniques." In Norway, they found even more puzzling behavior. Humans like Chris Adams were climbing to the tops of constructed hills, then launching themselves into the air. They would fly through the sky for incredible distances before landing on more snow far below. Dr. Zara watched in amazement as Chris Adams soared through the air, his body perfectly straight, arms pressed to his sides. "Aerial assault training," she whispered. "They're teaching themselves to fly without machines. The military applications are obvious." What made it even more impressive was that these humans seemed to feel no fear. They launched themselves from great heights over and over again, each time trying to go farther than before. Some crashed hard into the snow, but they would get up and try again immediately. Captain Rex found another group performing what looked like elaborate combat dances on ice. A human female named Lisa Stone moved across a frozen surface wearing metal blades on her feet. She would spin in circles, jump into the air, and land on one foot while maintaining perfect balance. Psychological warfare demonstration, Rex reported to his admiral. She's showing perfect body control and grace under pressure. This would intimidate any enemy force. The blade weapons attached to her feet could be used for close combat. The aliens noticed that these humans trained in groups, but they also competed against each other. Jake Miller and other mountain runners would race down slopes at the same time, trying to reach the bottom first. Amy Roberts would perform her turning techniques while judges watched and gave scores. Dr. Zara found this particularly interesting. They're using competitive training to improve their skills, she noted. Each warrior pushes the others to become better. It's more efficient than our training methods. The observations continued for weeks. The aliens documented humans performing incredible physical feats in terrible weather conditions. They saw people like Tony Green moving at high speed across ice, while hitting a small rubber disc with wooden sticks. Groups of armored humans would chase each other, trying to control the disc while avoiding collisions. Team combat simulation, Captain Rex reported. They're practicing coordinated attacks while wearing protective gear. The speed and precision are remarkable. They watched Kate Davis and others engage in similar activities, noting how the humans communicated with each other during these high-speed encounters. Hand signals, body language, and quick verbal commands were all part of their training. Most impressive of all were events that combined multiple skills. The aliens observed Alex Turner moving across snow-covered terrain on wooden planks like Jake Miller, but then stopping to fire precisely at small targets with what appeared to be energy weapons. Perfect fusion of mobility and marksmanship, Dr. Zara told Commander Vex. These humans have solved the problem of maintaining accuracy while moving at high speed over difficult terrain. Emma Foster and other humans performed similar combinations, skiing for long distances and then demonstrating perfect shooting skills, despite being exhausted from the physical effort. As the weeks passed, both alien observation teams became more and more concerned. These humans weren't just surviving in harsh winter conditions. They were using those conditions to become incredibly skilled warriors. Every activity they observed seemed designed to create stronger, faster, more capable fighters. Commander Vex and Admiral Torn began receiving daily reports that worried them greatly. If these primitive humans were this advanced in their military training, what would happen when their technology improved? The implications for the galaxy were frightening. Neither alien leader realized they were completely misunderstanding what they were seeing. The humans were indeed pushing themselves to incredible limits and achieving remarkable feats. But the purpose behind all this activity was something neither the Zephyrians nor the Cathera had ever imagined possible. The breakthrough came during the 4th month of observation, when the aliens intercepted a massive increase in human communications. Something called the Winter Olympics was about to begin, and humans from every nation on Earth were gathering in one location. Dr. Zara's skin flickered between different shades of blue and green as she processed the incoming data. Commander Vex, we have a situation. The humans are organizing what appears to be the largest military gathering in their history. Captain Rex sent similar reports to Admiral Torn. All the training we've observed was preparation for this event. Representatives from every human nation are converging on a single location. This could be a war council or the beginning of planetary unification. Both alien commanders ordered their observation teams to focus all sensors on the Olympic venue. What they expected to see was a massive strategic planning session, or perhaps the start of a global conflict. What they actually witnessed changed everything. The opening ceremony confused the aliens completely. Thousands of humans gathered in a large arena, but instead of discussing battle plans, they were celebrating. Music played, lights flashed in, colorful patterns, and humans from different nations walked together in small groups. Dr. Zara watched as a human named Danny Scott carried a flag while leading a group of Americans. Behind him walked other humans who had been training in the mountain reconnaissance techniques she had observed. But instead of looking ready for war, they were smiling and waving at the crowd. I don't understand their strategy, Zara told Captain Rex. They're exposing their trained warriors to thousands of potential enemies. This makes no tactical sense. Captain Rex observed similar behavior from humans representing other nations. A human female named Nicole Hayes led a group of Canadians, including some of the ice combat specialists he had been studying. They were laughing and taking pictures with humans from other countries. Perhaps it's a show of strength, Rex suggested. They display their warriors to intimidate other nations before negotiations begin. But as the ceremony continued, the aliens realized something was very wrong with their analysis. Humans from different nations were not just tolerating each other. They were actively celebrating together. Athletes from countries that had been enemies for decades were sharing meals and exchanging small gifts. The real confusion began when the competition started. Dr. Zara focused her sensors on the mountain slope where Jake Miller and Amy Roberts were preparing for what she had assumed would be combat demonstrations. Instead, she witnessed something that made her skin cycle through every color in the Zephyrian spectrum. Jake Miller launched himself down the mountain at incredible speed, just as she had observed during training. But when he reached the bottom, humans from other nations cheered for him. Amy Roberts, who represented a different country, congratulated Jake on his performance and embraced him like a friend. "This makes no sense," Dr. Zara said aloud. "Warriors from different tribes are celebrating each other's achievements instead of using the information to plan counterattacks." Captain Rex was watching the ice combat events with equal confusion. Tony Green and Kate Davis were engaging in the same high-speed armored activities he had documented before. But when the exercise ended, both humans removed their protective gear and shook hands. Other participants from different nations surrounded them, offering congratulations and advice. "They're sharing tactical knowledge with potential enemies," Rex reported to Admiral Torn. "Either these humans are incredibly naive or we're missing something fundamental about their behavior." The breakthrough came when Dr. Zara observed the figure skating events. Mia Clark took to the ice and performed the same graceful spinning movements that had been classified as psychological warfare demonstrations. But the reaction from the watching humans was not fear or intimidation. Instead, thousands of humans, from dozens of different nations, watched Mia's performance with obvious appreciation and joy. When she completed a particularly difficult sequence, they stood up and applauded. Humans from countries that were technically enemies cheered as loudly as those from her own nation. Ryan Bell performed next, representing a different country. His routine was different from Mia's, but equally impressive. When he finished, Mia Clark was among the first to congratulate him. She hugged him and spoke to him with genuine warmth and respect. "Wait," Dr. Zara said, her skin settling into a steady pale blue that indicated deep thinking. "What if we've been wrong about everything?" Captain Rex was experiencing his own moment of realization while watching the biathlon events. Alex Turner and Emma Foster were performing the same combination of skiing and shooting that had impressed the aliens so much. But instead of competing against each other as enemies, they were competing alongside each other as representatives of their skills. When Alex missed a target and had to ski the penalty loop, Emma shouted encouragement to him. When Emma achieved a perfect score, Alex celebrated her success as enthusiastically as her own teammates. Humans from other nations offered technical advice and shared equipment when needed. "Captain Rex," Dr. Zara called through their communication link, "I think we need to reconsider our entire analysis." "Agreed," Rex replied, his scales shifting to the bright orange that indicated excitement and discovery. "These humans aren't preparing for war. They're doing something else entirely." Both scientists began reviewing months of recorded observations with new understanding. The military training they had documented was actually humans pushing themselves to achieve personal excellence. The combat simulations were structured competitions with rules designed to test skill rather than cause harm. Most importantly, the tribal warfare preparation was actually a system where humans from different nations came together to celebrate individual achievement and collective human potential. Dr. Zara made the connection first. They've turned competition into cooperation. Instead of using their skills to defeat each other, they're using competition to inspire each other to be better. Captain Rex reviewed his data on the ice combat events with new eyes. The protective gear isn't for battle training. It's to keep them safe while they push their limits. The weapons aren't for fighting. They're tools for a game that requires incredible skill and teamwork. Both aliens realized they had witnessed something that neither of their civilizations had ever imagined. Humans had taken the natural drive to compete and transformed it into something that brought their species together instead of driving them apart. The implications were staggering. For 3 centuries, Zephyrians and Cathera had been locked in Cold War because they believed competition could only lead to conflict. These primitive humans had proven that competition could create unity, respect, and shared achievement. Commander Vex and Admiral Torn were about to receive reports that would change the course of galactic history. The emergency Joint Council meeting happened 3 days after the Olympic closing ceremony. For the first time in 300 years, the highest leaders of both civilizations gathered in the same virtual space. Commander Vex's skin showed deep, purple patches of serious thought. Admiral Torn's scales had turned silver, a color that meant she was ready to make important decisions. Dr. Zara and Captain Rex presented their findings together. Both scientists had spent days reviewing every piece of data they had collected. Their conclusion was simple but revolutionary. Humans had solved the problem that had kept 2 advanced civilizations apart for centuries. The activities we observed were not military training. Dr. Zara began, her skin glowing steady blue. They were competitions designed to celebrate individual excellence while building connections between different groups. Captain Rex added, "These humans compete against each other, but they also support each other. When one human achieves something remarkable, humans from other nations celebrate that achievement as much as the winner's own people." Admiral Torn leaned forward in her chair. "Explain this more clearly. How can beings compete and cooperate at the same time?" Dr. Zara activated a recording from the ski jumping events. Chris Adams appeared on the screen, flying through the air with perfect form. When he landed successfully, the crowd cheered. But the camera showed something the aliens had missed before. Humans from other countries were cheering just as loudly as Americans. "Watch this human named Lisa Stone from Germany," Zara continued. Lisa's jump was even better than Chris's. When she landed, Chris Adams was among the first to congratulate her. He hugged her and spoke with obvious respect and admiration. "They're not trying to defeat each other," Captain Rex explained. "They're trying to push each other to achieve things no human has done before. When one succeeds, it shows all humans what's possible." Commander Vex studied the recordings carefully. His skin shifted to light green, indicating curiosity. But surely they must want their own nations to win above all others. Rex showed another recording, this time from the figure skating events. Ryan Bell had fallen during his performance, which meant he could not win a medal. But when Mia Clark, representing a different country, performed perfectly, Ryan cheered for her as enthusiastically as anyone. "They celebrate excellence wherever they find it," Rex said. "Success by any human is seen as success for all humans." The alien leaders watched more recordings in stunned silence. They saw Matt Thompson helping Kelly White adjust her equipment even though they represented different countries. They saw athletes sharing food, teaching each other techniques, and forming friendships that crossed national boundaries. Dr. Zara presented the most shocking discovery: the Paralympics. "These humans don't just train their strongest and fastest," she explained. "They celebrate humans who face additional challenges and still achieve remarkable things." The recording showed Ben Carter, who had lost his legs in an accident, racing down a mountain on a specially designed chair. His speed and skill were incredible, but what amazed the aliens was the reaction of other humans. They cheered for Ben with the same enthusiasm they showed for any athlete. "They've turned what we consider weakness into another form of strength," Captain Rex observed. "This human demonstrates that physical limitations cannot stop the human spirit." Sarah Lewis appeared in another recording, competing in ice hockey despite being blind in one eye. Her teammates had developed special signals to help her, and opposing teams played with full intensity while respecting her situation. Admiral Torn's scales shifted through several colors as she processed this information. "They compete with those who are different rather than excluding them. More than that, Dr. Zara replied. They've created separate competitions specifically designed to celebrate humans with different physical abilities. They call it the Paralympics, and they treat these athletes as heroes. Commander Vex stood up and began pacing, which Zephyrians did when they were thinking hard. For 3 centuries, we've believed that competition must lead to conflict. We've assumed that if we push each other to be better, eventually we must fight to determine who is strongest. But these humans prove that's not true, Admiral Torn said slowly. They push each other to excellence, but the goal isn't to defeat the other. The goal is to see how good everyone can become. The realization spread through both alien civilizations like a wave. Military commanders who had spent their lives preparing for war began to understand that competition could serve a different purpose. Scientists who had worked in isolation began to imagine what they could achieve by working alongside their supposed enemies. Within weeks, the first joint Zephyrian-Cathera research station was established. Dr. Zara and Captain Rex volunteered to lead the project together. Their first goal was to develop competitions similar to human winter sports, but adapted for their own species. The changes happened surprisingly quickly. Zephyrians, with their multiple arms and color-changing skin, created graceful aerial competitions that were like human figure skating but performed while flying. Cathera, with their heat vision and powerful legs, developed ice racing events that combined speed with precision navigation. Most importantly, both species competed together. A Zephyrian might win a flying competition, but Cathera athletes would cheer and learn from the techniques they observed. A Cathera might achieve a new speed record, but Zephyrians would celebrate and try to understand how such performance was possible. Commander Vex and Admiral Torn met in person for the first time at the inaugural Intergalactic Winter Games. Both leaders participated in events designed for their species, not to defeat each other, but to see what was possible when ancient enemies worked together toward excellence. The humans, still unaware they were being observed, continued their own Olympic traditions. Jake Miller and Amy Roberts kept pushing themselves down snowy mountains. Tony Green and Kate Davis continued their high-speed ice competitions. Mia Clark and Ryan Bell kept creating beauty and grace on frozen surfaces. They had no idea that their simple approach to competition had ended a 300-year Cold War between 2 advanced civilizations. They had shown the galaxy that the greatest victory wasn't defeating your enemies but inspiring everyone to reach heights they never thought possible. The Zephyrians and Cathera learned that cooperation through competition was not just possible, but powerful beyond imagination. Together, they began exploring the galaxy, not as conquerors seeking to defeat others, but as partners seeking to discover what wonders the universe might hold when different species work together toward common goals. The Cold War was over. The age of cooperative excellence had begun. 1 year after the aliens first discovered human winter sports, the galaxy looked completely different. The emergency meeting between Zephyrian and Cathera leaders had lasted for days, but the decisions they made changed everything their civilizations had believed for 3 centuries. Admiral Torn stood in the center of what used to be a military command center. Now it was filled with both Zephyrian and Cathera scientists working together on projects that seemed impossible just months before. Her scales showed bright gold patterns, a color that meant she was experiencing something wonderful and new. Commander Vex floated nearby, his skin cycling through gentle blues and greens that indicated deep satisfaction. Together, they watched their people preparing for the first joint athletic competition between their species. The idea would have been unthinkable before they learned about human winter sports. Dr. Zara approached them, her skin glowing with excitement. Behind her walked Captain Rex, his scales showing the warm orange colors that meant he was happy and confident. Both scientists carried reports about the progress of their shared research. The joint training facilities are ready, Dr. Zara announced. We've created competitions that work for both species. The Zephyrians excel at aerial events because of their ability to float and change direction quickly. The Cathera dominate ground-based speed events because of their powerful legs and heat vision, Captain Rex added. But the most important thing we've learned is what the humans showed us. When Zephyrians win flying competitions, Cathera athletes study their techniques and try to adapt them. When Cathera set new speed records, Zephyrians celebrate and learn from their dedication. The first intergalactic winter games had been planned for a small ice planet between their territories. Both species had worked together to build facilities that could accommodate their different needs. Zephyrians needed spaces where they could float and fly. Kythera needed surfaces where they could run and use their natural abilities. But the real magic happened when they started training together. A Zephyrian athlete named Zek discovered that Kythera breathing techniques could help him stay calm during aerial competitions. A Kythera competitor named Tor learned that Zephyrian color-changing abilities could be adapted into a form of communication during team events. Commander Vex reviewed the reports from their observation teams still watching Earth. The humans continued their winter sports, completely unaware that they had ended a galactic Cold War. Jake Miller was training for another skiing season. Amy Roberts had learned new techniques and was teaching them to younger humans. "They still don't know we exist," Vex said to Admiral Torn. "Should we make contact and thank them for what they've taught us?" Admiral Torn considered this carefully. Her scales shifted to deep purple, indicating serious thought. "Not yet. Let them continue developing naturally. We can learn more by watching how they handle success and failure in their competitions." The aliens had discovered that humans dealt with defeat in ways that were as remarkable as their victories. When Tony Green lost an important ice hockey game, he congratulated the winning team and immediately began training harder for the next season. When Mia Clark fell during a figure skating performance, she got up, smiled at the crowd, and finished her routine with even more determination. Captain Rex had been particularly impressed by the human Paralympics. Ben Carter had competed in several winter events using specially designed equipment. When he won, he thanked his competitors for pushing him to be better. When he lost, he studied the winners' techniques and incorporated them into his own training. The humans have taught us that strength comes not from defeating others, but from helping everyone reach their potential, Rex explained to a group of young Kythera athletes. When you compete against someone and they become better, you've succeeded even if you don't win. The concept spread through both civilizations faster than anyone expected. Military academies that had trained soldiers for centuries began teaching cooperation alongside competition. Research laboratories that had guarded secrets jealously started sharing discoveries with their former enemies. Dr. Zara established the first joint university where Zephyrian and Kythera students learned together. They discovered that their different abilities complemented each other perfectly. Zephyrian students could reach high places and manipulate multiple objects simultaneously. Kythera students could see heat patterns and move quickly across difficult terrain. When they worked together on projects, they achieved things that neither species could accomplish alone. A Zephyrian's ability to float combined with a Kythera's heat vision allowed them to explore dangerous areas safely. Zephyrian color communication mixed with Kythera tactical thinking created new forms of art and strategy. The first intergalactic winter games finally took place on a frozen world called Harmony Station. Athletes from both species competed in events inspired by human winter sports but adapted for their unique abilities. Zephyrians performed aerial figure skating, floating and spinning through three-dimensional patterns that created beautiful color displays. Kythera raced across ice at incredible speeds, their heat vision allowing them to navigate safely even in blizzard conditions. But the most popular events were the mixed competitions where both species worked together. Zephyrian Kythera ice hockey. Teams combined aerial ability with ground speed to create a game that was faster and more exciting than anything either species had imagined alone. Commander Vex and Admiral Torn participated in a leadership event where they had to work together to navigate a complex ice maze. Vex used his floating ability to scout from above while Torn used her heat vision to find the safest paths. When they completed the course in record time, both their peoples cheered as if they had always been allies. The closing ceremony featured something unprecedented, a joint anthem created by musicians from both civilizations. Zephyrian color songs, blended with Kythera harmonic roars to create music that expressed the joy both species felt in their new friendship. As the games ended, both leaders made an announcement that surprised the galaxy. The Zephyrian Confederation and the Kythera Empire were formally ending their Cold War and establishing the alliance of cooperative excellence. Their combined fleets would explore the galaxy not as conquerors, but as partners seeking to learn from other civilizations. Meanwhile, on a small blue planet in a distant galaxy, humans prepared for another winter sports season. Jake Miller practiced his mountain descents, never knowing that his passion for skiing had helped end a war between the stars. Amy Roberts taught new techniques to young athletes, unaware that her dedication to excellence had inspired two alien civilizations to work together. The humans continued to compete, to push themselves to new heights, and to celebrate each other's achievements. They remained wonderfully unaware that their simple approach to winter sports had changed the course of galactic history forever. In a universe where most species saw competition as a path to conflict, humans had proven that it could be a bridge to understanding, cooperation, and shared greatness.